Hey everyone, and welcome to the second Q&A video. You all seem to enjoy the first one, so I've got your questions here. Let's do another one. First off, I just can't thank you enough for checking out the Thunderbolt videos and all of the support and kind words. It's just been so awesome. You all have been sharing them with your friends. All that stuff is so cool, and I just can't tell you how much it means to me. It's kept me very motivated, and you know how it is in a car project like this. Little setbacks, things happen, life happens, it could slow you down. So I just wanted to first say thank you very much for all of your support and kind words, and it's been awesome. All right, let's see. Oh, another thing, I try my best to respond to everyone as quickly as I can. You know, I get comments coming in from all over the place these days, which is really awesome. You know, I get Facebook, Twitter, of course, YouTube. Email, and I love all that stuff, but sometimes I'm a little slow, so please bear with me. Now, another thing is I get a fair amount of comments and questions from people on YouTube, and instead of being able to respond, I can only give it a thumb up or a thumb down in there. And I'm pretty sure that's something in your Google Plus settings. So if that is you, please fix that for me, because I'd love to respond to you, but I can only give it a thumb up or a thumb down. So thanks a lot. Okay, question number one. Now this is from my man Travis, or AKA T-Dizzle, Trav Deli, Tibby Dibby. You know, goes by lots of different names. He wants to know, how far ahead of time do I make my videos before posting them up? And that's a good question. It varies, but I do make them in advance. Now, early on, I used to just make them and put them out as soon as they were finished. So it was pretty much happening up to the day of when I was working on the car. And what I found is, as projects got bigger, like the Gallant project, and now with Thunderbolt, it just got too difficult to do things that way. You know, it's just, you're constantly chasing after it, and I like to be able to tell you guys I'm putting out videos every 2 weeks, and to be able to do so, you know, I needed to record in advance. Now when it comes to the Thunderbolt series, I gave myself a good bit of lead time, and what I'm going to do at the end of the series, I've had a few suggestions from you guys saying, hey, why don't you do like a behind the scenes, like the real timeline, you know, issues you ran into or whatever, just behind the scenes stuff, and I will definitely do that. I think that's a cool idea and it sounds like fun. So at some point, look out for that. But currently the Thunderbolt videos, I don't know, they're probably like a month behind, like real time, so give or take. And when it comes to putting these videos together, this may sound a little weird, but I think the work on the car is the easy part. The hard part is just the hours and hours of thought and consideration and planning and project management that goes on in my head or in spreadsheets, or, you know, when I'm daydreaming driving down the road. And any of you guys that build cars or have worked on something or taken on a decent sized project, you know what I'm talking about. You're always second guessing your thoughts and ideas that you have, and you know, thinking about that one thing you did, and maybe you should do it a different way, all of that stuff. So that's what doesn't show. And also, you know, you probably saw in my first video, I mean, I've literally been planning a car like the V8 Miata for 7-10 years, like really planning it. So all of that doesn't show in the video, but that's what's far more time consuming than the actual work on the car. Another point to Travis's question, as far as filming in advance, in the case of Thunderbolt, I filmed pretty far in advance in the beginning, and thank goodness I did, because my transmission, the Tremec transmission, the actual gear set, was delayed on back order for months. And that has set me behind as far as the video schedule, and I'm still catching up from that. So when you're trying to plan these things, you never know when something like that's going to come up. All right, question number 2. Why did you gut the whole interior of the Mazda Speed Miata? I'm pretty sure you can get away with basically not touching the interior while doing the swap. Well, from what I understand, there are other ways to do the swap. There's another kit, and you know, maybe with the Ford swap, you don't have to actually like disassemble the whole interior, and you know, to the extent that we did. The V8 Roadsters kit, part of the beauty of that kit is it places that engine nice and far back, smack up against that firewall to keep the balance and the weight distribution of the car in check. So that's part of the reason, and that requires ripping out the whole interior so you can cut that bell housing open. Otherwise, it would just catch fire in there. I mean, you have too much stuff in the way. So you have to modify that tunnel, which requires taking everything out of the car. Okay, question number 3. Hey Tom, what's up with your Gallant VR4 and the Talon? Is there going to be any upcoming vids on those cars, or are you done with them? Regarding the Talon, I actually sold it as a rolling chassis. Oh geez, it's been over a year now. And you know, I kept the engine and the transmission and things like that. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I don't have any plans right now. It's just nice to have a spare good transmission and a spare awesome engine. So maybe they'll end up in the Gallant future project. I have no idea, but just holding on to those things. So, oh, what's up with the Gallant? I've just been waiting for spring to come so I can drive it. We had a very bad winter here, very icy, and they were just salting the roads every single day. This car is in such good shape, I hated to take it out in that salty mess. So it led a pretty comfortable life here in the garage over the winter, hooked up to the battery tender. But I have driven it a few times in the nice days we've have had, and I plan to drive it a whole bunch once it warms up here in spring. Oh, and will there be more videos on the Gallant? Definitely. I'm up to my eyeballs working on the Miata, but once things slow down in that regard, I'll definitely be making some more Gallant videos, because I love that car. Okay, question number 4. What happened to the Grand National? Well, sadly, I sold the Grand National last summer. That was really tough for me, but the fact is, the car needed a paint job, and it basically needed like an exterior restoration. You know, it was a Florida car. It was in pristine shape as far as body goes. There was not a speck of rust on it. Excellent, nice straight car, but it needed paint bad. And all of the weather stripping, T-tops, windows, everything was shot. So frankly, I just didn't have the energy to do a big bodywork project on that car. You know, obviously I would have to take it somewhere to get it painted. I wouldn't be able to do a nice enough job like that black mirror that I would want. And did get a little sticker shock when I got a few estimates of what a good paint job like that would cost. But I was planning to do the teardown myself, and I actually got pretty far in the planning stages of that project. But all told, it just wasn't something I was willing to take on right now. And I would love to have another Grand National, maybe someday. This is a good question. Number 5, how and why is your garage so clean? I think the how is pretty simple. I have lots of storage space. If you've seen the videos, I have cabinets all over the place, which I picked up used. They're IKEA cabinets that I found on Craigslist, but they have this nice, like a semi-gloss black finish. They look really cool, but so I have all those. I have these big workbench cabinets that I also found used and sort of fixed those up, those stainless tables. And so tons of storage in those. Obviously a good toolbox gives you lots of storage, but the absolute key to the organization and why it's so uncluttered down here is there's an upstairs to the turbo garage, and that's where I keep all of my stuff. Basically, when I was building the Miata, you know, you saw all the parts coming off, but none of them were down here in the garage. They were all in the attic. Yes, that's how crazy I am. I hauled every single part up to the attic. Everything, hardtop, hood, rear end, transmission, everything up. So wiring harness, you should have seen it up there. I took a picture. I don't know what happened to the picture, but I will find it someday and post it. It's just like a whole entire Miata up in that attic. But that's how I stay organized. I keep fluids, spare parts. I have the old Talon engine up there. So that's what keeps it fairly nice and uncluttered down here. Oh, and why is simply because when I work in the garage, I mean, I just got done working here. I don't know if you can tell, but when I work in the garage, I don't have much time typically due to life, you know, family stuff, whatever, work, whatever's going on. So when I come out to the garage, you know, I might just have an hour or two. So if I come out and tools are everywhere and it's messy, I just can't mentally get in gear. It's just the way I've always been. I don't consider myself like compulsive or anything, but if I come out here and there's junk everywhere, I just find myself making mistakes and having a hard time getting started. It just slows me down. So if I come out here and it's organized, I can work faster. I do have to spend a little time putting things away and cleaning up, but to me it's worth it because I can make the most of my time. All right, question number 6. How did you spec out the layout of your garage? Well, I have to give the biggest shout out to the Garage Journal forums. That is that had just about everything to do with my planning and the layout that I chose. Very simple layout, really. But the garage journal, there's just so many tips in there. And there's a whole thread, in fact, of what would you do differently when you built your garage. And that was a huge help, that thread there. And so the garage journal forum was great as far as lighting, how to plan that, and the best way to plan, where to put the steps up to the upstairs. I also used a rendering program called Sweet Home 3D, which that allows you to, it's like a CAD program, and I actually designed the whole garage in there before, far before ground was broken. So Sweet Home 3D, it's similar to the Google program. I don't know if it's Google Draw or whatever it's called, but it's very similar to that, but allows you to simply design 3D images, and that was hugely helpful. Okay, questions 7, 8, and 9 are from my buddy Adam. Why the name Thunderbolt? And that's a pretty cool question. It's something I've never really explained. I sort of just glossed right over that in the videos, so that would have been handy to put in there now in retrospect. But something about the color of this car, when I love the color of this car. I've always loved this, that gunmetal, that titanium gray color on whatever car I've ever seen it on. And I really love it on the Mazda Speed Miata. And there was just something about that color, and that the engine combination and the attitude of the car when it's going to be done. Just the name Thunderbolt, it just kept coming back in my head over and over. And I don't know, it just seemed like it fit. And plus it was sort of the opposite of Sunflower, which my old yellow turbo Miata, which something about that was kind of fun too. But the name just sort of stuck. Next question from Adam. Who do you plan on getting to do the initial bass tuning for Thunderbolt? Do you plan on doing this yourself, and what software? Well, the engine management system is the GM Performance Parts LS376525 engine controller. So it comes with a GM ECU that's calibrated to this engine. Now that said, reading on forums, talking with the folks at Fly Miata and others, the consensus is that the tune is a little rough in there. And that's not terribly surprising. That there's room for improvement, but from what I've heard, it's a little just rough around the edges as far as like part throttle drivability and stuff. So I will be doing some tuning on it, and I will be using the HP Tuners software, which looks really awesome, and I've been dying to have a chance to use it for a long time. And as far as an initial bass tune, I've been talking with the folks at Flying Miata a little bit about, they tune each of theirs, and all their turnkey conversions they immediately tune them, optimize that tune, instead of using the stock GM tune that comes with the ECU. So I might get some tips and pointers from them, and then I'll definitely be tuning it, and I'll show you some of that stuff in future videos. Okay, final question. Has working in the garage and making videos put any type of strain or differences between you and your wife? I know juggling our favorite hobbies and family time can sometimes clash, so I wanted to know how you deal with this. Well, it's like anything else, I suppose. I mean, the older I get, the more understanding I get of these things. It's just about balance. I mean, my wife is supportive. She's not like into cars, which I think is good. I think it's actually good to have somebody in your life that checks you a little bit on things. I've come up with some pretty harebrained ideas as far as car projects. And she sort of said, "Are you sure about that?" And that, even that small pushback has given me time to think and consider things. And I think it's good to have somebody like that in your life. My wife is very understanding about me coming out and working in the garage and spending time on car stuff, but I do my best to spend lots of time with the family and do other stuff outside of this. So I know in the videos I've had some folks comment and say, "Hey, you must live out in the garage. You must be out there all the time." And while I would like to live out here someday, I definitely do not live out in the garage. I spend very little time out here, in fact. It's just when you're watching the videos, I think it comes across that way, that I'm just always out here working. But I do come in the house once in a while. So does it ever put a strain or cause any differences? I think the only thing she seems annoyed by is, I have a Mac and it comes up with our photo library and the screensaver. And what happens in there, probably, if I had to guess, It's 80 to 85% car pictures and 20% family and other stuff. And when I'm talking about car pictures, I don't mean like cool shots of cars and things. I'm talking like the turbine housing of the Grand National, or a spark plug, or just something impossibly detailed, and just some reference picture, a big bundle of wires that I took a picture of for some reason from 5 years ago. So all this stuff is floating around in the screensaver, and every time that pops up, she sort of lets out a yeah. So that would be the one strain, I would say. It's just that where it's like permeating our lives. She definitely enjoys the videos and checks them out, and gives me good ideas and tips, tells me when I'm being too much of a goofball, which is important. But for us married dudes, it's important to do things in moderation. It's important to have balance. A little garage time is good, helping out around the house. Family time is very important, and so it's just balancing everything out. All right, that's all the questions I have for this video. I wanted to thank you for these questions. I thought they were pretty cool. And if you have any ideas for questions you'd like to see in the next Q&A video, just leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to include those. So thanks again for checking this out and for checking out all my videos and subscribing. I appreciate it very much. And have fun wrenching out in the garage. We'll see you next time.